net zero, we need real zero.
Not net zero. So net zero means that we sort of don't produce any additional emissions beyond the rates at which we are currently producing. Real zero? So real zero means that you actually shut down the entire economy of the world. Of the world. And unless you think that I'm exaggerating what exactly she is calling for, here's Greta Thunberg, what she actually said at Davos, and she was praised by the media for this. The real reason she's getting praised, of course, is because she yells at the adults. And what the left loves to do is prop up children who yell at adults. And that way, if you attack what the children are saying, if you say, listen, seems like a nice enough young woman, like, I'm not arguing with her passion, that's fine. She has an agenda, that's fine too. I'm arguing with her agenda. That way, the left can say, you're attacking a child, don't you see? You're attacking it. They do the same thing with regard to gun control. They love trotting out children so that they can say, you are attacking this poor victimized child. And it's like, well, no, I think that the argument's bad. I'm not attacking the kid.
And until we have the technologies
This lady
that
there
at
is
scale can put
pick
our
a child
emissions
is not some
to minus,
autistic dropout.
then we must forget about net zero. We need real zero.
Not net zero. So net zero means that we sort of don't produce any additional emissions beyond the rates at which we are currently producing. Real zero? So real zero means that you actually shut down the entire economy of the world. Of the world. And unless you think that I'm exaggerating what exactly she is calling for, here's Greta Thunberg, what she actually said at Davos, and she was praised by the media for this. The real reason she's getting praised, of course, is because she yells at the adults. And what the left loves to do is prop up children who yell at adults. And that way, if you attack what the children are saying, if you say, listen, seems like a nice enough young woman, like, I'm not arguing with her passion, that's fine. She has an agenda, that's fine too. I'm arguing with her agenda. That way, the left can say, you're attacking a child, don't you see? You're attacking it. They do the same thing with regard to gun control. They love trotting out children so that they can say, you're attacking this poor victimized child. And it's like, well, no, I think that the argument's bad. I'm not attacking the kid.
And until we have the technologies that at scale can put our emissions to minus, then we must forget about net zero. We need real zero.
Not net zero. So net zero means that we sort of don't...
You know, it's very funny when the fake media goes out, you know, which we call the mainstream media, which sometimes I must say is you. But when the fake...
Me personally, or...
your show, I love your show. I call it Deface the Nation. You know, it's very funny when the fake media goes out, you know, which we call the mainstream.
This person is absolutely certain that their 18-month-year-old child is trans. They're definitely not doing this for internet clout by uploading it to TikTok and seemingly visually getting aroused at the idea when they talk about their kid wearing dresses. It's definitely not coming from the parent.
So she was designated, assigned, observed male at birth. And until about 18 months, didn't really know too much, just kind of was
My Yu-Gi-Oh's loading slow.
And around 18 months, she started showing signs of like really being interested in things that her sister had and had in her closet and wanting to play dress up and wanting to put on lip gloss. And when she would see fingernails, she would want her fingernails painted too. And then around the age of 2, things started to progress at a quicker pace. And so each time that we would go to pick her up from preschool, she was fully outfitted in dresses and jewelry.
Thanks for supporting, and if you enjoyed this, leave a like on it and subscribe or follow for more. This person is absolutely certain that their 18-month-year-old child is trans. They're definitely not doing this on internet clout by uploading it to TikTok and seemingly visually getting aroused at the idea when they talk about their kid wearing dresses. It's definitely not
Yu-Gi-Oh! I wanna be the very best. Bum, bum, bum. Let's create a new deck.
If you read the medical studies of the consequences of those surgeries, an enormous percentage of those surgeries require a second, a third, fourth, fifth surgery to correct it because you have all sorts of complications. You have infections. You have perforations. Look, it's hard to discuss without getting really graphic, but you read stories of people who have this surgery have to use a colonoscopy bag and crap in a bag for the rest of their lives. For any person to have this surgery, I think there are a great many of them who regret it almost instantly because it is the rest of their lives.
See, your head
are
is as
devastated.
big That's Tiny Tim.
and then to amplify it and to say
Hey.
a child.
It had to make it to Tiny
If
Tim.
you read the medical studies
Yeah.
of the consequences of those surgeries, an enormous percentage of
Watch
those
him, Timmy.
surgeries require a second,
Watch him,
third,
Timmy.
fourth, fifth surgery to correct it because you have all sorts of complications. You have infections. You
Okay,
have
he
perforations.
goes in every deck
Look,
I
it's
make.
it's hard to discuss without.
Yeah, he definitely goes in every deck I make. So, alright. They keep saying extra deck, not extra monster. See, they need to fix their search filter. I'm looking specifically for the X. Oh, let's add the word zone. Alrighty. Too low for. Oh no. 2 dragons. Quick tribute 1 monster from your hand to field face up. It's a card on the field of your hand. It's tributed. Special summon. Dragon monster from your hand to deck. I don't have any super coins. Magician DD. World Legacy. To the zone. See, it's not giving me the results I'm looking for. There we go. If this battles a monster in the extra monster zone, it gives 800 attack defense during the damage check only. Extra monster zone. Okay, left. That brings up the cards I don't own. R is bookmark and card history. Left button and X resets. Simplified display. Oh shit. Alright, let's go back to the thing. Two level 7, that's an odd eyes. And that's a pendulum. Eliminate virtual world cards. I don't own that many Dragunity. Clock Sportoy. This card's linked, so you add 1 sign in feature from the deck to your hand. If a monster is special summoned to a zone, this card points to accept the damage. Okay, no. Ah, shit. Cannot attack directly or attack monsters in the extra monster zone. Unaffected by monster effects activated in the monster zone. Cannot be destroyed by battle with the extra monster zone. Okay, that's definitely a card that I type I'm looking for, but not that one. That's Pendulum Zone, not extra. Son of a bitch. Okay. If you have no cards in your Pendulum Zones, add 2 face it. Fusion 1 monster from your extra deck using Pendulum Zones. Oh, god damn. Let's see here. Okay. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. It said Beast Warriors, Beast, or Winged Beast monsters. It said 1 monster from your hand deck or field to the graveyard. Add 1 Tri Brigade monster deck to the hand. Use this ability once per turn. If this card is in the spell trap zone, is destroyed by... Man, I like how they put so many words to complicate a simple sentence. If this card is in its owner's spell or trap zone, well, that's interesting. If this card is in play under its owner's control, you can activate this fate. Your opponent cannot declare an attack this turn. So I can discard a Beast, Winged Beast, or Beast Warrior to get a Tri Brigade monster from my deck. You know what? Nothing in that sentence says anything about extra monster zone, so let's see that. Tri Brigade. Tri Brig. You can ritual summon this with Primal Cry. Once per turn, you can reveal a monster in your hand, then target one face that monster on the field. Target that becomes that level monster head to the enter. Once per turn open, another monster is attributed from the field to the hand, except during the damage check. You can target 1 monster in your hand and grab it to your hand. Okay. Can only be summoned with Primal Cry. Reveal 1 monster card in your hand and draw a card. Where's the Tri Brigade? Anyways. Okay, Tri Brigade Fractal. See what other Tri Brigade cards they have. Tri Brigade Mercurier. I have no ultra rare coins. Okay. When your opponent activates a monster's effect, you can while you control a fusion monster. I don't have any fusion monsters. I have this guy. Don't need that one. Wait, what does it say though? You can send this card from your hand face up to the field. Send it from your hand or the field to the graveyard. Negate the effect. If this card is banished, add 1 deck from your foot. Fallen of Elbaz, or 1 monster that mentions it. Target 1 Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster you control. Special summon 1 Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monster from your deck in defense position with a different type and attack less than or equal to that monster, but its effects are negated until end of this turn. So you cannot special summon monsters from the except for the rest of it. except link monsters. You can only use, okay. I read all that, but what does it do? Okay. Special summon this. In defense position, with a different type and attack less than. Okay, so I choose a beast, warrior beast, or winged beast monster on the field. See if it's a winged beast earth, then it has to have a different type and attack less than or equal to. Complicated shit. Alright, we got the fractal. You banish any number of beasts, winged beasts, and or winged beast warriors, and you get a special. So one beast be. Okay, two of him. You discard one beast, warrior, or winged beast, more special. This card from your hand. Okay. You banish any number of beasts, winged beasts, beast warrior cards, special one beast one. Link monster from your extra deck. So link rate. Alrighty. Okay, so what we got here? Nope, let's get rid of him. Beast warrior, beast warrior, beast, 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 winged beast, winged beast, winged beast. Okay, now for these guys, beast, Travergade, beast, beast. Alright. Okay. Why? Lusk. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. What is that one? Independent Nightingale. Assembled and okay. If this card is fusion serving using an XYZ monster on the field, as fusion, whose name includes Iron Dusk. You can increase this card's level by the number of XYZ monsters. Equal to this level. That's actually pretty cool. Pay $1 all monsters your opponent can. Yeah. Okay. 3 of those. 3 of those. 2 of those. 3 of those. 3 of those. Okay. Okay. F-Zero. Utopic Draco Future. Utopic Future. Using a Utopia monster with number FO. Gains 500 attack for each number XYZ monsters in the graveyards. Cannot be destroyed in battle. Once per turn, he takes 1 or 2 of those. Make a second attack each battle turn. No. Okay. monster return, foolish burial, 1/1, called by the grave. Leave out the cross out designated fire formation. Ash. Max. Draw. How about this? Wind draw. You can conduct tribute summoning. No, that's for tribute summoning. That's for Harvey. That's for Yosenju. When there are face-up wind, water, fire, earth monsters, apply one of these effects. Wind, 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 wind. Earth, fire, no water. Draw two. Two. Well, just draw then. Okay. 5 monsters in the graveyard, shuffle them back in the deck, draw 2 cards. 30 or more cards in hand, draw 1 card. That might be a good one. Okay. Alright, we need some link monsters. Wait, are there any Lyru? Okay. Let's put 6. Access code token. Already have what I have. Don't need it, don't need it.
not something that people talk about a lot, but salvia, because it was somehow illegal. And it is one of the most mind-blowing psychedelics known to man.
For 10 minutes, yeah.
It's fucking unbelievably powerful. Ari Shaffir did some on a podcast, and he lived an alternative life for 3 months. He had a family, he had jobs, he had friends, and then all of a sudden, he came back to reality.
Oh, where am I? What in the hell?
And he said that while he was out for 10 minutes, he lived like 3 months in a different world.
Jesus Christ. And then you have to wonder if that's the real one and this is the fake one.
Ah!
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. He just went into this place and lived another life. I think he was under the ocean, too. Yeah, and so he was...
Guess how many questions she's gotten about how she started the collusion hoax? Guess how many? 0. But they did ask about Donald Trump and why it's okay for her to throw classified information on a secret server in her closet, but not him.
I had a very different situation where I was cleared and the guy just kept talking and then came up with a new reason to talk some more 10 days before the election.
James Comey.
Yes, and there's no doubt at all that he impacted very negatively my chances of winning. So it was in the middle of an election. There was no there, and the guy never showed up.
Freeze?
So I think it's a really different comparison to what's going on
Hello?
here when it appears that the Justice Department and the FBI have been incredibly patient, quiet, careful, until they finally apparently thought that national security was at stake.
Guess how many questions she's gotten about how she started the collusion hoax? Guess how many? 0.
Yeah.
But they did ask about Donald Trump and why it's okay for her to throw classified information on a secret server in her closet, but not him.
I had a very different situation where I was cleared and the guy just kept talking and then came up with a new reason to talk some more 10 days before the election.
James Comey.
Yes, and there's no doubt at all that he impacted very negatively my chances of winning. So it was in the middle of an election. There was no there, and the guy never shut up. So I think it's a really different comparison to what's going on here when it appears that the Justice Department and the FBI have been incredibly patient, quiet, careful, until they finally apparently thought that...
Let's do this.
Come on, Patty.
You're not going to be drawing off me today.
Come on, SpongeBob, you can do it. Hey,
Kyrie Irving should be on a victory tour right now on every media platform America has. Every media platform should be putting a microphone in his face and saying, Kyrie, go ahead and say I told you so. But they won't do that. The CDC just came out and now and YouTube now says you can say that the vaccines don't prevent COVID. You know, they're walking back everything that people were saying in real time, and they were running you off platforms. And again, I just want to be crystal clear here. I love Mike Wilbon. Nothing but good to me. But Mike Wilbon and Stephen A. Smith sitting on TV crucifying Kyrie Irving for not taking this vaccine. And for ESPN right now not to have helicopters and microphones outside Kyrie's house saying, hey man, just come on the show and we're going to let you tell everybody how you were right and we were wrong. Kyrie Irving should be on a victory tour right now on every media platform.
You're asking us to talk about history, the history of the South. This is in Georgia. There were savages in Georgia. It was the ancestors of the white right-wingers. They murdered people, they lynched people, they raped people, they took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen.
You want to talk history, Jan? Let's talk. Your Turkish ancestors were brutalizing and slaughtering Armenians, Greeks, Bulgarians, and Assyrians by the millions, while white Americans and Europeans were fighting to end slavery around the world. Your savage ancestors were genociding masses in unspeakable carnage, ripping women, children, and babies from Bulgarian families to use as sex slaves and child soldiers, while the ancestors of white Americans and Europeans were inventing the modern world and fighting for human rights. Your savage Turkish ancestors were enslaving and butchering Eastern Europeans by the millions. And now, over a century later, you, a descendant of these savages, not only write essays that not committed, but you use the technology granted to you by white inventors to start a show named after the Turkish movement responsible for those genocides. Your ancestors made the American South look like a fucking square dance. How dare you cherry pick history to support your racist psychopathy? And that, folks, is what you get when you turn leftist logic against itself. By cherry picking and generalizing history, any race or ethnicity can be made into the boogeyman or champion of history. How's that for listening and delivering?
Yep.
Who is typically seen as the prize?
Chang Unger's dickhead. Seriously.
Men typically have to have looks, money, and status in order to attract lots of beautiful
Jackie
women.
Unger?
How is the man
What
not
kind of
considered
name
the
is
prize?
that?
Look at her stupid loading screen face!
Who is typically seen as the prize, the man or the woman?
Woman.
If men typically have to have looks, money, and status in order to attract lots of beautiful women, how is the man not considered the prize?
Look at her stupid loading screen face!
Hey! Perhaps I could be of some assistance. Hey! Perhaps I could be of some assistance. Hey!
It's funny how some cities will shut you down and other ones invite you to come paint. This one is in Faith, North Carolina. I said, come on over, we'll pay you to paint. I was like, well, you're in luck because I like to put paint where it ain't, but not when it's 108. Anyway, they wanted to represent a handful of things here. Their churches, they have a high amount of veterans that live here. They have a huge 4th of July festival every year. A lot of these buildings have... Pete, your ass is just too big, dude. It is just too fucking big. Festival every...
How's it going? Listen, if you're black and you were born in America, you're not African American, you're just American. If you were born in Africa and you become an American citizen, well then you're African American. That's how that works. Now I'm Irish and I'm proud of my heritage, but I was born...
Yeah.
Yes, hi. I got a call from this number saying that I'm accused of committing fraud and I have 14 days
Why?
to resolve my case before I'm arrested.
Why?
Yes. What is your full name?
What?
Who are you with? What's your name?
This is
Ain't
the
doing
IRS,
nothing.
ma'am. I need your full name or
Ain't
case
doing
number in
nothing.
order to be able to help you.
It's hard to believe you're as old
Give me a
as these
second.
big dogs. It is weird.
Verification complete.
Ma'am, this is Channel 10 News, and we're conducting an investigation in cooperation with federal authorities to locate and arrest scam callers. Our system has identified your voice and provided us with your full name and address. Authorities will arrive at your location shortly. We strongly advise you to remain where you are. Yes, hi. I got a call from this number saying that I'm accused of committing fraud and I have 14 days to resolve my case before I'm arrested.
Yes. What is your full name?
Who are you with? What's your name?
This is the IRS, ma'am. I need your full name or case number in order to be able to help you.
Okay, sure. Just give me a second.
Flip it.
Voice verification complete.
Ma'am, this is Channel 10 News, and we're conducting an investigation in cooperation with...
Who fought in the Civil War?
The Civil War? Wasn't it... What's his name? Kennedy? Kennedy's...
Yeah, Kennedy against him.
Really? Oh my fucking
I
god.
Do you know how many continents
See,
there are?
this is just fucking retarded. No.
Who fought in the Civil War?
I don't know.
How many states make up the United States?
How many states make... Dude! I know this.
You know this.
I do. That's crazy. I don't want to do this to this.
Say a number, say a number.
I don't know.
No, you do know this.
You
do know
wrong
this.
time.
Do you know who the president was before Trump?
No.
You know what 3 times 3 times 3 is? No. Who fought in the Civil War?
The Civil War? Wasn't it... What's his name? Kennedy? Kennedy's...
Yeah, Kennedy against him.
I don't.
Do you know how many continents there are?
No.
Who fought in the Civil War?
I don't know.
How many states make up the United States?
How many states make... Dude! I know this.
You know this.
I do. That's crazy. I don't want to do this to this.
Say a number, say a number.
I don't know.
No, you do know this.
Call me,
You
call
do
me
know
the wrong
this.
time.
Do you know who the president was before Trump?
No.
You know what 3 times 3 times 3 is? No. Who fought in the Civil War?
The Civil War? Wasn't it... what's his name? Kennedy? Kennedy's.
Yeah, Kennedy against him.
I don't.
Do you know how many continents there are?
No.
Who fought in the Civil War?
I don't know.
How many states make up the United States?
How many states make? Dude. I know this.
You know this.
That dude. That's crazy. I don't want to do this to the.
Say a number. Say a number.
I don't know.
No, you do know this.
Caught me,
You
caught
do
me
know
on the wrong
this.
side.
Do you know who the president was before Trump?
No.
You know what 3 times 3 times 3 is? No.
Recently,
this
White House
generation
Press
knows
Secretary
shit.
Karine Jean-Pierre said that President Biden had created more jobs than there are people on the planet.
As you know, the good news is in August, the economy created 315,000 jobs, which is important. We have created nearly 10,000 million jobs since President Biden took office, which is the fastest job growth in history.
Now, I believe 10,000 million is 10 billion, which comes out to 30 jobs per person. Now, obviously, the White House is very good at math, which makes me wonder, when she said jobs, what kind of jobs was she talking about? Recently, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said that President Biden had created more jobs than there are people on the planet.
As you know, the good news is in August, the economy created 315,000 jobs, which is important. We have created nearly 10,000 million jobs since President Biden.
10,000 million jobs.
Hey, may I help you? Yeah, this is kind of neat.
Hold on.
Oh, it's from New Guinea. It's a syrup.
Hold on.
Recently, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said that President Biden had created more jobs than there are people on the planet.
As you know, the good news is in August, the economy created 315,000 jobs, which is important. We have created nearly 10,000 million jobs since President Biden took office, which is the fastest job growth in history.
Now, I believe 10,000 million is 10 billion, which comes out to 30 jobs per person. Now, obviously, the White House is very good at math, which makes me wonder, when she said jobs, what kind of jobs was she talking about? Recently, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said that President Biden had created more jobs than there are people on the planet.
As you know, the good news is...
Yeah, that's this, yeah.
Hey, may I help you? Yeah, this is kind of neat. What is it? Oh, it's from New Guinea. It's a ceremonial spirit box. Wow, that's cool. What do you do with it? You put your weed in there. Thank you.
This is neat. Is this from South America?
You bet. That's a Yanomami ancestor idol from Brazil. It's carved from deer bone.
What do you use it for?
You put your weed in here.
Okay.
No problem. Where's this from? Oh, it's from Borneo. It's for a Sulawesi puberty ritual. It symbolizes the journey into adulthood.
Really?
Yeah, and you put your weed in here.
So this has actually been used in puberty rituals?
Yeah, and you put your weed in there.
Thanks.
Excuse me. Oh, this is great. You put your weed in here.
I'm looking for a gift for my mother. Is there anything in here that doesn't involve weed?
Hey, may I help you?
Yeah, this is kind of neat. What?
This week, the state's surgically enhanced governor, Gavin Newsom, announced a new way to overburden California's already collapsing energy grid. He's got an idea. He wants to ban gasoline-powered engines and force everyone to drive an electric vehicle. The vehicle has to be plugged into outlets within the state of California.
Here's a little secret to everybody out there who's always constantly bitching about, I don't know, the Black Lives Matter, MAGA, Biden, Trump, LGBT, abortions, teachers, education, CRT, Ukraine, Russia, Palestine, Israel, China. I mean, all of you people are just morons. Just 100% morons. While the human race needs to be focusing on the survival of the human race, literally 90% of the humans that have all the power, control, and money are focusing on sex, what's dangling between your legs, and what kind of hat you should be wearing. It's skin color, of all things. I mean, really. There's got to be one person out there has any sense at all. Any sense. The human race ain't gonna be here for long. We got what, 2-3 more generations left. I mean, Gen Z is proof that we're devolving. Right now, monkeys are smarter than us. Nobody cares. How can I give money to an organization that gives itself the title Black Lives Matter if they totally ignore black lives? And of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to be doing this. Konami needs to fix something. Or I need to get some money and actually buy a computer worth a damn, get an internet worth a damn. Get that Oculus Rift. Just zone out and go to random bullshit. It's like, good goddamn, seriously. I swear the whole world's gone batshit crazy. Someone the other day said, hey, why do you have your stream title Suicide Countdown? Well, if you go to exitmundi.com and check out the Singularity Apocalypse, where everyone uploads their memories, brains, thoughts, and consciousnesses into a computer, you'll find a very interesting read about how humanity simply becomes bored. Think about it. Seriously, think about it. Humanity uploads its entire consciousness. Everyone, every single one of them. And then they all, now that they have total knowledge, know everything, they've lost their physical shell. And now that they've lost their physical shell, they don't fear death. They have no concept of good, bad, right, wrong, evil, mortality. So they simply kill themselves. Turn themselves into nanobots, go into the vacuum of space and find some way to just obliterate themselves, whether it's flying into a black hole or whatever. That's one of my favorite apocalypses. You will find apocalypses everywhere. One apocalypse is females are getting pregnant and birthing more females than males. They're trying to weed out the Y chromosome. It's not a conscious thing, it's an evolutionary thing. The more sensitive each generation gets emotionally, it's kind of like when you're so stressed out you give yourself a heart attack. Now imagine so many generations of women thinking they're the victim, playing the victim, waving their victim card around. All that stress, when they finally do get pregnant and have a baby, that Y chromosome lowers and they give birth to another woman, and they raise that little girl to be a woman, and everything they teach that girl is that she's a victim, she's this, she's that, and then when she gives birth, that Y chromosome gets low, and it's like an evolutionary annihilation. I'm not sure 100% about the science behind it, but according to a webpage, within the next 5 or 6 generations, there will only be a population of about 10% men, because the Y chromosome will be weeded out by then. And even with that 10% men, to help repopulate, only girls will be born. Now, unless humanity finds a way to create a machine to impregnate a woman without the assistance of a man, humanity will not go on. Eximundi is a very, very interesting website. I need to find the person who owns it and help him upgrade it at the very least. And I'd do it for free. He wouldn't even need to pay me. I could go in there. I could fix the script so that the pictures load. I can change it to whatever scripting language he wants. But right now, here's just the basic layout. As you can see, some of the pictures are gone. Now, let's see. Timbo, you having a nightmare, bub? Alright, at the Exit Monday page, farewell. Alright, here's something different. What if we all killed ourselves? We agree, after all we've been through as a species, mass suicide would be a ridiculous way to go, but oddly, suicide could also be an inevitable, most logical outcome of evolution. Now I want you to take a look at half the world today. You literally have a minority of people complaining that they're committing suicide because of you. They have to place blame on someone. Once they place blame on someone, they can pretend they're the victim. If they pretend they're the victim, they can get free stuff handed to them. Maybe more rights, maybe more privileges, maybe more money. You never know what. But a lot of people are killing themselves, but the statistics show that men, straight, cis, white men, and black men, well, just any man in general who has a job and is heterosexual, any man who has a job and is heterosexual has the tendency to commit suicide. Look at the stats. Oh, come on, what on earth would we do that for? Well, somewhere in the distant future, we might come to the conclusion that it is the best thing to do. The only thing that makes sense is we would decide to kill ourselves and do it. We'd kill ourselves collectively to the last man. We wouldn't even leave a suicide note. After all, who would read it? Of course, it won't happen tomorrow. First, a lot of dramatic changes will take place in our species. Right now, we're not too keen on dying. In fact, we hate when we die. But most scientists expect that over time this will change. Slowly we will defy death. We will beat disease after disease and live longer and longer. We will fool the Grim Reaper with anti-aging chemicals and fantastic new cures. And in the end, we will beat death. We will need all of our technological know-how to do it. In the long run, we will replace our entire bodies by technology. Already, we replace our teeth and the occasional limb that has gone missing with artificial stuff in the near future. Scientists expect to invent replacements for our organs a little later, and we will be able to replace the brain by computer technology, really, already. Yeah. There's this man who has a machine, and he can those wires to your head, just to the outside of your head, collect your brainwaves, and the monitor will actually show a picture of what you are thinking. This man was told, think of Obama, and you should see that video. It's very, very interesting. Trust us, it's gonna be fun. When our minds have become pieces of software, we'll be able to copy ourselves. We'll be able to upload ourselves to, well, whatever we like. Me, I would go to either Uncharted Waters Online, Ultima Online, or one of the Yu-Gi-Oh games. Or I wouldn't do Minecraft. Minecraft just seems like it'd be a migraine shit. Anyways, we will go out into space in the shape of a conscious spaceship in the form of a purple cloud like thinking smoke particles. No, seriously. Imagine a thinking smoke particle. Now, respected scientists like Freeman Dyson and Carl Sagan already wrote about this in the 70s. And we will interact with each other big time. With our biological bodies gone, we will no longer need MSN. It'll be like a hive mind. Everybody will share the collective consciousness. Rather, our minds will start to blend, actually become one consciousness. And researchers have dubbed this the singularity, as we detail elsewhere on this site. Okay, that sounds pretty vague, but hey, it's no reason to carry so. Well, there is one crucial detail. Once we're immortal, we'll be bored. Now, who's to say this hasn't already happened? Who's to say that everything we're experiencing right now, with all this stupidity going on in the world, that we're not already in this simulated universe? I mean, look at all the glitches. What if we're out there floating in a purple cloud of nanobot cloud particles, and we're all sharing a hive mind, but we've separated ourselves within the simulation, and which is why there's so much anger, and it's even worse than that. We'll become machines. Our processing speed will increase hugely. Simply put, we will think bloody fast. Within a split second, we'll realize that our existence literally has become useless. A split second later, we'll realize it's best if we didn't exist. To a purple cloud, suicide will be as self-evident as tossing away a used scrap of paper, as logical as getting off a train that has reached its final destination. And the final destination is what we have reached, the end point of evolution. Even harder to comprehend, the God cloud won't have any special feelings about it. We will think of suicide. We immediately think of terrible things with high-end buildings and shotguns, but when you're a purple cloud, it's all very different. Conscious clouds don't feel pain, have no reason to be afraid, least of all death. You're immortal. Dying might not seem like a fun thing to do. It will be as challenging as if for us not to die. So there we go. After a long period of contemplation, say an entire millisecond, we realize we have become useless right there on the spot. We kill ourselves. And hey, you're doing it again. You picture a purple cloud desperately weeping, throwing itself in front of a speeding train, but it won't be like that at all. Rather, we will turn ourselves in some way yet beyond our imagination. We will step out of the universe, fold ourselves up, switch ourselves off, something like that. In a split second, after we've reached immortality and oneness and all that, we will be gone. Click. Poof. The one good thing about all of that Because at least there will be no more of this bullshit. The countdown is on. There is a suicide countdown, and it comes with a singularity. Me, I personally would love to put my mind inside of a nanobot. A nanobot that can reproduce itself. If I were a nanobot, now I don't want to be part of the hive mind, mind you, because hive minds is the reason why everybody gets bored so quick. See, without the human body, I have no pain. So the first thing I'm going to do as a nanobot is try to reconstruct the human body. I will make copies of my cells, look at the material that made up my old body, and create that old body. And the nanobots will literally be the blood flow of the bone marrow, the veins, the central nervous system, the brain. It'll all be there, but it would not be it'll be a human body. You can kill it, stab it, shoot it, it'll die, because all the organs, everything is normal. But inside the brain is a nanobot. And that nanobot can perform tricks, so to speak. Imagine Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a normal human being, waves his hands, and he creates magic. He uses science to bring forth what they call spells, incantations, chants. And if you look at the Marvel movie Doctor Strange, you will see that, in my theory, if you give my brain to one nanobot that can replicate and create, and if I can create my own body and walk around, then I use my hands to create fire and just shoot fireballs like a Hayoken, and it will be like an avatar of myself for myself that can die. But when I do die, the nanobot can just move on and create a different body, or so on and so forth. That's why I want to be a nanobot. But I want to retain the ability to remember everything from that life to this. I want to have the ability to know that I'm still a nanobot, but still have the emotions that come with being human. That would be awesome. But, as we all know, the countdown is on. It's coming. If Sheldon Cooper was right, it's coming pretty soon. Within the next, say, what did he say? 2060? Let's see. I'm not sure what he said in that episode, but if I live to be 84, if I lived to be 84, I might be able to live to see the singularity. And I want to be the first one uploaded. Win, lose, or draw. If I die right there, I don't care. If they invent time travel between that point and this, I want to be the first one. I promise I wouldn't change history for anything. I just want to go back. First place I'd want to go back to. But here's the thing. Time travel's not like Bill and Ted, where you just get into a phone booth and leave the 7-Eleven and end up in France. No, it's more like Back to the Future, where you show up in the exact same place you are when you go back. So if they invent a time machine, they better know exactly what the Earth looked like back then, so that when you get transferred back in time, you don't end up inside of a tree. Plus, Earth rotation and all that, what if we travel so far back in time that we're literally in space floating because the Earth's orbit, because we're getting closer to the sun? And when we travel back in time, we think we're in the same spot, but we look over and we're in the vacuum of space and we're like 2 or 3 miles away from the surface of the Earth. We're just in orbit because we didn't calculate the orbit into the location. Yeah, it's very weird. Now, that was suicide. This one is, please don't go insane now. Of all the apocalypses on this site, the one you're about to read is probably the most mind-boggling of them all. For what will eternity look like? Think of a place where everything has ceased to exist, where golden parkings pop out of nowhere, Napoleon Bonaparte comes back to life, and the Twin Towers resurrect themselves. Still, this incredible place is exactly where we're heading, physicists expect. Empty your mind. We're about to take a big leap into the future. Not just a lousy few billion years, but a Google years. 1 Google years. The official word for that number. It's the current age of the universe, 1 billion times over. Squeeze the entire history of our universe into the thickness of a dollar bill. Add 1 Google years, and it'll give you a pile of money that reaches 100 quadrillion light years high. It wouldn't even fit in the universe. 1 Google years, that's truly staggering, beyond anything a human can comprehend. First, let's fast forward to the not so awfully far future. For the coming billions of years, scientists predict quite a ride. The sun will explode, the Milky Way will slam into another galaxy, the cosmos might collapse or get torn apart. Scientists can't even seem to decide which yet is more likely. And even if the universe doesn't do that, we're destined to face a weird and horrible crisis, which involves us spending our time as sleeping robots. The problem is that the universe gets bigger and cooler. Ever since the Big Bang, it expands, much like an expanding ball of fire after an explosion. Right now, the universe is still young. It has all these cute stars and twinkling galaxies, but in the long run, it will change. Slowly but inevitably, the universe will empty itself. First, the galaxies will fly out of sight beyond the horizon of what we could possibly see. Next, the stars in our own galaxy will burn out, one after the other. The only thing that will remain is a dull graveyard of cold planets, dead suns, black holes. In about 100 trillion years, the Milky Way will go black, astronomers expect. And eventually, even this graveyard decays. One after the other, the dead stars and planets are eaten by black holes, kicked out by the Milky Way by collisions. Astronomers expect that 100 to 1,000 billion years, our galaxy has dissolved completely. Time goes on. After a while, more trillions of years, something else will kick in. You'll notice that even the very stuff nature is made of isn't stable. A proton, the particle you'll find in the core of atoms, has an average lifetime of long enough, and it will suddenly vanish. Poof, gone. The same goes for light particles, the so-called photons. They're expected to last a few zeros longer, but in the end, they too will kick the bucket, one after the other. Is that just bizarre? The light will go out, literally. The last thing that survives are black holes, but in the end, they too will vanish. They will evaporate in a puff of radiation. So there we are. At our unimaginable one Google years, finally, the universe is totally and utterly empty. You won't see any light or spot any planet. In fact, you won't even find the tiniest speck of dust. The universe has sterilized itself. All there is left is emptiness and darkness, total oblivion. And worst of all, there's nothing we can do to stop it. We can build fancy machines or futuristic devices all we like, but in the end, they'll all get kicked out of existence when the matter they are made of simply vanishes. So there you have it, infinity. Boring, we must add. But don't stop. There's an upside. As the quadrillion years pass, something very odd should happen. In eternity, even the rarest events get a chance to occur. Weird, bizarre phenomena that only happen once in a zillion years or so become quite normal. For example, the nothingness should yield a few surprises. Already, physicists know that in a vacuum, there are sometimes tiny little energy blobs, little random fluctuations of the so-called quantum vacuum out of nowhere. Tiny particles pop in and out of existence, but theory predicts that on the very, very rare occasions, the fluctuations should be a bit larger. Out of nowhere, an entire atom might appear. Or hey, the vacuum might even spit out a few of them. Think of it like static on TV. Wait long enough, and out of random fuzz, a recognizable image might materialize. Wait really long, and one day, a complete episode of The Bold and the Beautiful should accidentally show up. In the universe, this should give some really surprising results. With eternity at hand, the vacuum should begin to yield all kinds of objects, incoherent lumps of random garbage. Most of the time, but on very, very rare occasions, you'll see other objects popping into existence. The Eiffel Tower, a purple camel, a golden parking garage filled with chocolate Cadillacs, Napoleon Bonaparte sitting next to Mike Tyson on a stack of comic books. As the Googles of years pass, it's all there. In the very, 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 very long run, the vacuum will even belch up complete planets and beautiful stars and burning and all. Theoretically, the vacuum should even churn out a complete solar system one day, identical to ours, with a planet, Earth, inhabited by people. In an infinite amount of time, one day, I will reappear. As physicist Catherine Fries of Michigan University once put it, and crazy thought, but true. One day, the black nothingness should even produce a new Big Bang. Admittedly, we'll have to wait really long for it to happen. Researchers at the University of Chicago once tried to calculate it, and according to their best estimates, it should happen somewhere over the next... my eyes went blank for a second. Years. That's a 1 with 1,056 zeros. You can count them if you like. I am not going to count. Hold on, I can count them. Okay, let's see. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 60. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 90. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 90 times 11 is 9,900 zeros. Now 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9, 20. Yep, it's all there. Actually, yeah, that's pretty cool. They really, There are exactly 90 zeros in each column, and we have the 6 zeros up here in this row. That's pretty cool. Anyways. So how many times have we already done this? This is the total opposite of multiverse theory. This is like the one universe repetitive theory. It would also explain the Mandela effect and why things seem to keep blinking in and out of existence and changing in our universe as we speak. Like the Lost Boys blood scene. Well, let's keep the countdown going, everyone. It's weird. It's very, very weird. You have all these people out there talking about activism